Have you ever stumbled into a moment that shattered everything you thought was safe? A single second where your life cracked wide open. Let me take you into mine. The wine glass was still warm when she set it down. Half full, smeared with coral lipstick, sitting quiet and forgotten on the edge of the coffee table. I stood in the hallway, clutching a small velvet box, fingers tight around it as if I could will everything to rewind. Inside that room she laughed softly, at something on her phone. It wasn't mine. I hadn't made her laugh like that in months. She hadn't seen me yet. I wasn't supposed to be home. I'd already told her I'd be staying late. Just a dull Tuesday, errands and work, but I'd forgotten my wallet. Funny, isn't it? How something as small as a misplaced wallet can collapse your entire life. I stepped inside and just like that, I walked into a moment I'll never forget. There she was, Eva, curled up on the couch, toes tucked beneath her, bathed in the blue light of her screen, giggling like a teenager sneaking out after curfew. I'd missed that laugh. But it wasn't mine anymore. She looked up. And in that instant I saw it, the flicker before her smile. Fear, guilt, calculation. Then came the smile. Too slow, too careful, too damn late. You're home early, she said lightly, like nothing had happened. Kept my voice flat. Forgot something. The air thickened between us, sharp as glass under bare feet. I wanted to ask, who is he? How long have you been deleting me from your happiness? But I didn't. Instead, I walked over, set the little velvet box on the table, and slid it toward her. Like I was handing her the last piece of my heart. She blinked, startled. What's this? I looked at her, like a man watching the sea swallow his front porch. Already drowned, just waiting to disappear. Open it, I said. She lifted the lid. Inside sat the ring I'd bought 2 weeks earlier. There'd been a plan, sunrise, a letter, a quiet weekend away. But now it was meaningless. She stared at it the way people stare at bruises, shocked they hadn't noticed them until they started to ache. I can't, she whispered. 3 words. Soft, simple, final. I smiled. Not because I was fine, but because crying in front of her would have been the last thing I ever gave to the woman who'd stopped seeing me as hers. I walked out. Not to my car. Not down the street. Just left. Didn't even shut the door all the way. It stayed cracked behind me like an unfinished sentence. The night was still. My footsteps sounded too loud in the quiet neighborhood. My hands shook as I walked, no destination, just away. Away from the house that still smelled like her perfume. Away from the walls covered with wedding photos that now felt like mocking portraits. I ended up at an all-night diner on Holloway Street. Far corner booth. Cracked vinyl, table scarred by coffee mugs and burned-out lovers. I didn't order anything. I just sat, staring out at the rain, waiting for answers that wouldn't come. My phone buzzed twice. I didn't look. Eva always texted when things got messy. Easier to lie without letting me hear her voice break. I was about to leave when the server placed a mug of hot cocoa in front of me. And blinked. I didn't order. She did. He nodded toward a woman sitting alone near the window. Mid-50s, paperback in hand, hair streaked with silver. I gave her a faint nod. I didn't touch the drink. I just let it warm my hands while the rest of me stayed frozen. Later I walked to my brother's apartment. Second floor of a building that smelled like old pizza boxes and gym socks. He opened the door, took one look at my face, and didn't say a word. Just handed me a blanket and let me crash on the couch. The next morning my phone had 7 missed messages from Eva. They started pleading, then shifted to blaming. Please don't blow this out of proportion. And then the dagger. Be mature about this. Mature. I'd given her 6 years of my life. Sacrificed everything. Swallowed every quiet insult, every missed dinner, every deflecting kiss. And now she wanted maturity. I didn't reply. Not that day. Not the next. By the 3rd day something inside me changed. The bleeding stopped. It didn't feel like a wound anymore. Felt like a scar forming. And that's when I made the mistake. I went back. Not to reconcile. Not to beg. Just for closure. The house was too clean. Too stage. Like a showroom version of our marriage. Then I saw it, her laptop. Unlocked. I shouldn't have. I know that. But I clicked. There it was. A folder labeled work notes. Screenshots. Messages. Texts between her and someone named Reed. Flirty. Familiar. Secretive. And then I saw it. He suspects nothing. I told him it's a work trip. I'll be with you all weekend. Can't wait to fall asleep next to you again. Again. This wasn't new. This wasn't a mistake. It was a second life. I didn't smash anything. I didn't cry. I just closed the laptop, dropped my house key on the counter and walked out again. This time I didn't stop. I walked for hours through unfamiliar streets, until I ended up outside a 24-hour laundromat, gripping my fists like I could still hold onto the life she'd thrown away. It wasn't just the betrayal. It was the weight of all the years I'd spent building something she never intended to keep. I didn't go back to my brother's place. I found a cheap motel near the highway. One of those places where the silence is heavier than the walls. I sat on the bed, staring at my reflection in the dark TV screen, whispering, "What's wrong with me?" My phone buzzed again. This time the message was different. "Please. It's urgent. Not about us." I ignored it. Then another came. "Dane, you need to see this. You'll hate me more if someone else tells you." Cave. We agreed to meet at a grocery store parking lot. Neutral ground, no drama. When Eva showed up, she looked scared. She handed me an envelope. Inside. Background report. Me. Everything: my jobs, finances, college, even my old online accounts. Even a nickname from high school no one outside my closest circle ever knew. Dusty Dane. "How did he get this?" asked Num. "I found it in Reed's apartment," she whispered. "He lied to me too. I think you were the target all along." That's when everything snapped into focus. It wasn't just an affair. Reed, or whoever he really was, had been watching me for years. This wasn't about love, or lust, or even revenge. This was something else entirely. My father's name surfaced. An old scandal. A forgotten inheritance. Sealed lawsuit. Everything I'd spent my life trying to outrun. Eva confessed everything. How Reed had seduced her after he'd already been tracking me, twisting her into his plan. Fake emails. Doctored photos. Ways. He'd convinced her I was cheating first. He'd been watching me before she ever met him. And then, he vanished. No trace. That night, as I sat staring at the report, my father's words from a letter long buried echoed back. "They'll never let you live quietly. Be smarter than I was." Now I understood. Someone had dragged me back into a game I never wanted to play. And I was done hiding. I booked a ticket to Vermont. To the only man who might have answers. My father's old partner. This story didn't end with heartbreak. It began with it. Because sometimes, betrayal isn't the worst thing waiting in the shadows. Sometimes it's only the start.